Hello, American Patriots. Welcome to another episode of the Ducote Show. A special edition, basically, of the Ducote Show. As you can see, I'm still on the road right now. I was scheduled to be back today, but that didn't happen. But anyhow, I wanted to go ahead and put out a video and tune it in for you guys tonight so we can discuss how I feel, which I know how it's the same way many of you feel about what's happening in this country of ours. I guess one of the things I'll start off with, you've all heard that with the death of George Floyd, the police officer that put his knee to his neck has been found guilty of all charges. And that is what it is. From the very beginning, I said that what the officer did was uncalled for and he didn't need to do it. Now, if you followed the trial, you would also know that the cause of actual death had very little to do with his knee on George Floyd's neck. But I'm not here to pass judgment on anything other than the jury has announced their verdict, and I'm okay with that, as you should be as well. When anyone does something so egregious, they should be held accountable. And it doesn't matter what color you are, white, black, where you're from, your wealth, whether you're a police officer, a soldier, firefighter, or you work at Walmart, shouldn't matter. If you do something, and in this case, you cause another person to die for no reason, or you're part of their death, then you should be held accountable. And it appears that that's the case. Sentencing will be in probably a few weeks from now. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be, but we'll see what ends up happening with him. But the purpose of this video is to express my utter frustration with the members of the Democrat Party and the liberals across this country. I know that many of you feel the same way I do, watching this current administration just basically go after our constitutional rights on steroids, let's say, because it's insane. I mean, it really is. It really is insane, the degree that they're trying to alter our America. It's their America too. If they're in Congress, they're an American. Yet, many of them have forgotten, absolutely forgotten, what this is all about. Excuse me, that would be a fast jet. Anyhow, many, not just Democrats, but some Republicans as well, have forgotten the basic values of America. For instance, we had a sitting member of Congress, Maxine Waters, once again calling for violence, telling, not even, it weren't even her constituents, she was in Minnesota, telling the people that were out protesting that if George Floyd isn't convicted of murder, then they should not leave the street. They should make sure that their voices are heard. They should continue to... Here, I'll let you watch that real quick because it looks pretty cool. United States Navy at its finest. And I picked the end of the runway to do this video. Anyhow, you know, let's just think a few months ago when the same Democrats that are okay with what Maxine Waters has said impeached President Trump for inciting violence. They impeached him in the House of Representatives. But yet Democrats do it, and it's okay. Nancy Pelosi made sure. She made no bones about it. As far as she's concerned, she stands behind Maxine Waters. But if the situation was reversed, and we're talking about a Republican, be a different story. And we all know that. We've watched it. They're hypocrites. I mean, they really are. The left and the Democrats are hypocrites, hell-bent on destroying our system of laws. They're attacking our police officers verbally and physically. When Maxine Waters made her ridiculous statements recently, 2 National Guard members were shot in the streets of Minneapolis. Not to mention the many, many thousands that have been injured by members of Black Lives Matter, Antifa. You know, and the Democrats refuse to even admit that Antifa exists as we watch them looting and burning down cities. It's insane. You know, I served this I served this country with honor. I don't recognize it anymore. I don't recognize what the Democrats are doing to it. And I don't understand why. Why do you want to disrespect law and order and allow innocent Americans to be injured? Why do you back thugs? Because let's just face it, that's what some of them are. Some of the people that Antifa and BLM put up as martyrs were just horrible members of society, when there are good people in society that have been gunned down that you never hear anything about. You know, a good example of this is just a few days ago. There was another police shooting where a guy was shot by an officer and killed. And immediately, Black Lives Matter and Antifa took to the streets and they're going to protest. They showed up in hundreds. And then they found out that the guy was white. And then they disappeared off the street. Because they don't care about white lives. As a military veteran, I care about all lives. Black lives, white lives, all lives matter. To signal out and say that Black lives matter, and if you say white lives matter, that makes you a racist. Well, no, that makes you un-American to try and bring color into this. Lives are lives. Then we look at our border. Democrats are okay with the tonnage of drugs that are coming across and injuring and killing hundreds and hundreds of Americans. They're okay with sex trafficking the cartels doing of women and children across the border, raping them, killing them, leaving them for dead, and refuse to call it a crisis They're okay with more MS-13 gang members coming into America and destroying and killing people. It's sickening. It's not the American way. They want to take away our guns. They want to strip us of our Second Amendment rights. The Democrats and liberals want to strip Republicans and conservatives of our First Amendment rights. They're doing it already on Twitter, on Facebook, hell, even here on YouTube. They're slowly but surely destroying everything that we have fought for, that brave men and women have signed up for, raised their hand to fight and defend. Thousands and thousands of men and women have served in the United States military to defend the rights that we have as Americans. And these Democrats and liberals have no problem destroying them. It's like they're not Americans. Why would an American want to do anything that goes against our Constitution? So here's my challenge to you Democrats and liberals out there that are hell-bent on destroying everything. You need to go visit some of my brothers and sisters. Yeah. At any cemetery across this nation that has veterans. For instance, I don't know, like right here. Yeah. That's what you need to do. You need to step out of your little comfort zone. You know, like the leader of Black Lives Matter who just recently purchased a $1+ million home. Wow. How did that happen? Didn't see that coming. And nobody seemed to care. Nope, not a care in the world. So concerned about Black lives and so concerned about what's happening in America that you just aren't doing anything to help make the situation better. In fact, you're doing everything in your power to make it worse. So, this is what you do. You go out here and you talk to these men and women. They listen. They're rolling over in their graves right now over the silly BS that's happening in this country. The men and women that fought, bled, and died for the same rights that you're doing everything in your power to destroy and take away. And that is wrong. It's anti-American. It's Communism 101. Socialism, whatever you want to call it. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're going after our Constitution, shame on you, and you need to be called out on it. Maxine Waters. You need to be called out on it, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who hasn't yet went to the border. 26 days ago, she was appointed in charge of the border. She hasn't even went down there to meet with the men and women of law enforcement, of border agents. No, not at all. Another fine American right there, training to be a naval aviator. By the way, I'm at Pensacola Naval Air Station. I've been here for, yesterday makes a week. I'll be here for 3 or 4 more days. But I challenge you, Democrats and Democrats, even Republicans, hell, liberals. Did these guys and girls die in vain? I mean, seriously. Seriously. Did they die in vain? Because they served for our Constitution. They served for the same freedoms that you're hell-bent on taking away from other Americans, to include yourself. It's one of those things that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sure it doesn't make much sense to you either. So, what do you do about it? What can we do about it? Well, you can vote. For what that's worth. As we've recently found out, that doesn't always mean it's going to come out in your favor. Here comes another one of our brave heroes. That'd be a Naval Aviator in the making. Several times a year, I go out and I visit military, veteran cemeteries. I go visit some of my friends that are up in Arlington. And one day, some of my friends will be visiting me in a place like this. I know that I did everything in my power to be a good American. Have I made mistakes? Sure I have. Are they mistakes worth destroying everything that this country built? No, and why would you? Why would you take God out of everything? Out of our courtrooms, out of our schools? Why would you disrespect our flag? Why would you spit on the graves of the brave men and women that have fought with so much courage? Fought for you to have the right to disagree with the American way of life. We're in some very trying times. I can only see it getting worse before it gets better. Sadly. I can never get enough of this. The sound of freedom. That's what that is. That's somebody that's going to be here one day. We all will one day. I mean, if you weren't a veteran or a direct family member of a veteran, you won't be in a veteran cemetery. But you can't get out of this life alive. The only thing that's certain is that we all die. But between now and then, what is so wrong with standing up for American values and not screwing with our Constitution and using common sense? Common sense. Why do we have so few of that, Democrats and liberals? Why are you hell-bent on destroying everything that these people fought for? Why? You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm ashamed of you. And I know they are too. And the part that worries me the most, and this is a good one, is that we actually have veterans, and even some that are in the military right now currently serving, that are Democrats, and agree that it's okay to destroy our values and our Constitution. That does not make sense in any way, shape, or form. Hope you're all having a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Could have been anywhere and you chose to be here, and for that I'm forever grateful. And I know my brothers and sisters are as well. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our first responders, our men and women in blue, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America more now than probably at any given time in our entire history. Have a blessed evening, everyone. I'll see you soon.